Oh, and another thing to remember, which I thought was like exactly, so the second house, remember, this is like the house of memory. So it's like the house of like what you store. So like storing like information, like, so like people with a strong second house can be historians. But you know, so like when you look at the planets, so you have like a bunch of planets here. You have the sun, Mars, so, and you have Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of information, about communication. It's about youth. It's about getting information fast. It's like, you know, it's like texting. It's like DMing. It's like you know, the internet, like communication, emails. When Mercury goes retrograde, all these things get like messed up. I rules like now I'm getting like too much into Mercury, but this is what I love astrology and I have to. But Mercury is like cars. Like think about like when you go from one place to the other. This is like transit. It rules roads. It rules bicycles. Roads because it connects one road to the other. So like I always know when there's a Mercury retrograde. I don't even look it up because I used to drive to the villages, and on I-75 the cars would be like backed up, and I would always Snapchat it. And no astrologers even say that there's going to be car accidents, but if you think about it, like technology's not working right. Someone's like on their phone texting, and they're not like paying attention because like their phone's not working, bam, car accident. So I always associated it, and I've seen it to be true, where it's like when you have Mercury retrograde, like you should be careful because there's like car accidents like all the time. And some of the more ones that like they talk about is going to be that they have you know, they send the text to the wrong person, or they'll send, you know, you'll try to send a text to your mom and you'll send it to your boyfriend, and there you have like your you send the wrong email, or like you send an email where you're cursing out your boss and stuff. And it depends on where Mercury is retrograde and stuff, but there's like different things like that that can happen. Or anyways, enough about Mercury. But so if you have Mercury in the second house, that would mean that quick information with memories that's stored, you are really like quick with information and stuff. So it's like you can like actually like you don't hesitate to like look up things really fast to like remember it again and everything. And that's like very like, they say like if you have Mercury in the second house, then you can have you can be like a comedian. Like a lot of comedians will have this and stuff. And also like, now I'm getting too into this, like this isn't what we're going to talk about now, but I'm not sure if I already talked about this one, but I'll talk about this stuff more later. But like, let's go into the ruler of the second in the second. So like, I don't know, I think I already explained this, but if you have, wherever the ruler goes, it gives you an example and an idea. Like there's going to be different ways to extrapolate this, but it gives you an idea of like how these like two energies are going to play. I'm just going to give you an example. I think I already told you this, but it's like, let's say you have the ruler of the fourth, which is the family, and it goes into the ninth. I'm just telling you this because this is my example and it was 100% true. So that means the fourth house is like the emotional stability. How does a person find emotional stability? Ninth house matters. Through being on campus or going to mosque. And this was like, or like going to like a religious temple or something like that. This was so true for me because whenever I've had any emotional issue whatsoever, on those dates, if you look through my phone, there's pictures of like the library on campus. I've always lived close to the library. Oh, and the fourth house, the ruler of the fourth in the ninth, would mean that my house, the fourth house, would be near a temple or a college campus. This is 100% true too. So this is like when I'm telling you like the sign and then the ruler and then the house, this is how the energies are going to play out. It's not going to be exactly the same all the time, like the way that it relates and everything, but I want you to get like, this is like the idea. So the other ones that I'm going to go through tomorrow is going to be like, you'll be able to see like the two houses like interacting, but this is different because it's like the ruler of the second is in the second. So you have Virgo's in the second, and so this is a wealth yoga. A wealth yoga is like good karma. So that means like this person with this wealth yoga would be somebody who's has good money. And what does the ruler of the second and the second mean? That means the ruler is in his kingdom, in his throne, so he's very comfortable, so he's gonna make things happen. So like the strongest planet for the second house for you would be Mercury. So if you wanted to like we'll go through that too, but just like remember that in your head, the ruler of the second is Mercury, and the ruler of the second takes the affairs of the second, so they can collect for the sake of collecting. When I think of this, not for Mercury in general, but for like just ruler of the second and the second, you can be a collector. So I always think of like movie stars that have like a whole garage full of luxury cars just for the sake of collecting it and everything. That would be an example of that. If you have Mercury there, you could collect books. If you have Sun, which you do, you could invest in gold. If you have you can be a collector or a hoarder. You can conserve. This is also like the house of conserving energy, like so food. So you can later in life you might hold more weight. This is just something you don't have to like, it doesn't have to be where the energy goes. I have Jupiter here, so I eat a lot and I'll like always gain a lot of weight, and then I'll always have to find a way to lose it or whatever. It's like a constant cycle. When I was like visiting my family, because they see me in like my regular clothes and stuff, my aunt's like, everything's good, and she like pats my stomach. She's like, I accept this. So it's just like and like now that I like know that energy is there and stuff, I like use it in different ways and stuff. But this is just like something that could happen in the future, so I might be big in the future too. But also, so the second house is about capitalizing, like money, like how you can make the money. So how can you make money? For Mercury, you can do it based on the speech, on song. So a lot of singers and songwriters have this. The voice plays a big role in their life and a big role in the way that they make money. They'll have a beautiful face if you have like Venus there, which you do. So it's like, in case you were insecure or whatever, this is like proof that you're really beautiful. This is like all these wonderful planets are in the second house. So like, let's say if you had a difficult planet like Saturn, I'd be like, oh, this girl's face is like not pretty or whatever. Not always, but like, or their face is very dry or like not, or like old looking or whatever, or just like not interesting or something. So beautiful face, it represents the family lineage, so you can make money through the family lineage. So it could indicate like a richer family where you can like capitalize on that. They can capitalize on the second marriage because the second house also rules the second marriage. So according to Western astrology, the second house, so the second house rules the second marriage, and according to, sorry. According to Western astrology, so this is like our astrology, which is like newer astrology. So I like the older ones, but they're both valid. The newer, like the Western astrologers say that the 9th house is the second husband, but I don't know why, but you know how I'll get into this a little bit later. There's something called derivatives. So so let me give you an example. So you know how the first house is your body, and then the second house is the money that you make from your life, your body, or whatever, you know? So you can use this derivative for other areas too. Like the 10th house is your house of career. The 11th house is the house of gains from the career. Let me give you another example. The 7th house is the house of marriage. The 8th house, which is joint finances, is the money that you make from a marriage. So you can also do other ways. So 8 is the death of something. So the 7th is the house of marriage. 8 houses away from the 7th house is the second house. And so that means the death of the marriage, which would start the second marriage. So so the second house is also the second marriage. It'll describe if you get married for the second time, it'll describe the second life partner, which we can go through, and it'll also describe the gains that you can make from the second partner. Well, because your ruler is in the since the ruler of the second is in the second house, you will make, if you have a second husband, you'll make gains from them.